Hey there, guys. So, welcome back to Drawing Creep. And today we are going. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, just fiddling them. Fiddle. Yeah, I'm gonna just draw. We can try to draw along if you want to, I guess. I'm just gonna draw. Wait, okay. My hands are right here. These are mine. Obviously mine. Mine. La. And this is not fake. I will show you, by the way, my hands look babyish. They do. I have baby hands. Oh, I'll show you. This is not a fake by showing you my face. Hi, guys. Alright. Oh, I just got squeaked. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is something to stay hydrated with because I get thirsty while drawing. So I got a Coca-Cola Zero because I don't know how to say this. Okay, what you're going to need if you want to try to draw along is you're going to need a pencil of any sort or any type. By the way, this is my blanket. I'm sitting on it because I wanted to have a good background, but oh well. So, you can use a pencil of any sort, any type you like, but for today, I'm using a Papermate pencil, and it's a lead pencil, obviously. It's green, because green's my second favorite color. If you don't agree, that's okay. And you are going to need a sketch pad or a notebook of any sort. It doesn't really matter which type you like. My aunt brought me this for school, but I never really turned out to use it, but it's still cool, so I use it to sketch now. Okay, so these. Excuse me. Oh. I'm bumming this. Sorry. I know I'm not sick. This is just something that allergies know. Allergies. Anyway, so we got our pencil, our hydration drink of any sort, and I don't battery will use. Obviously, you're gonna need something to color these all with, so I'm using the Crayola thing. See, Crayola. Crayola. And the picture on it is really beautiful, by the way. I did not do this. I wish I could draw that well. But I'm going to use this for coloring. So, notebook, this, and pencil. Okay. Wait, I want to open this to show you what it looks like on the inside. So, I have these all colors. I'm currently missing one color. I don't know where it went, but oh well. I have another color pencil set some more. Okay, so you're just gonna take this and remove it for a second. Okay, so you need this. Hold on. Okay, so I got my elephant one. Classic. Okay, so you can see the full thing, right? Yeah. Okay, so I have... Alright.
Where have you guys been? Running from that two-headed ghoul, that's where!
You have seen the ghoul of the
I just...
I'll never forget its chilling chuckle! That's great. You can help us find it again and trap it. We need you to wander around the bumper cars, loudly pretending to be lost. That will lure the ghoul out, where we'll be secretly waiting to capture it.
So we're basically worms on a hook for you?
Don't tell my mom.
You are the hit. No way, yo!
But anyhow, I need doodly da. So we're gonna get my pencil, obviously. By the way, I'm looking at the top of my camera, which is why I'm moving my hands so weirdly. But now I'll look through my actual vision, which will show me where I'm drawing. So this is drawing on pencil and what so such not. let me get comfy, because obviously you need to get comfy to draw, you know what I mean? Hopefully you do. If you don't, oh well. Ooh. Ow. Okay, so let's see. Oh. Sorry, I was doing something. So what you're gonna start with is, or what I start with. By the way, this whenever I talk is for the people who want to watch and actually try to do this. If you don't, I suggest you muting this video or keep on listening if you want. But this is just basically gonna be telling people how to draw like how I draw. I'm not a super draw, believe it or not, but I draw. So, oh well. What you're gonna do, you're gonna cut off this and stuff. Okay, so now you got your pencil. I like to sketch, like, you know that. Yeah, that's basically what I do. So I sketch. Let's see.
I thought I recognized that chuckle. But like, why would they do all this? Simple. Their favorite ride, the bumper cars, was becoming too popular. So Batman and Commissioner Gordon dressed up like the two-headed ghoul to scare everyone away. Of course, with no other guests, they'd never have to wait in line. Hey, as long as we have them tied up, let's unmask Batman. I've always wanted to know who he really is.
Ooh, are we allowed to do this?
Sure, why not? Wait, this mystery goes even deeper. I believe this is another mask. Hold on a minute. That's not me.
Okay, so since I'm gonna be making him face this way, I'm putting the draw line right here so it makes it look like him facing this way. If that makes any sense or not. So you're gonna want to make that shape of type of a U or something. You can sketch or not. I do not really care, but my type is sketch. So if you really do want to do an exact copy of how I draw, you can do a sketch if you want. I don't really care if you do or don't. I mean, your opinion is just your opinion, not mine. So I'll let you do what you want. So now, what we're going to do, and by the way, I'm illustrating this right on my phone. So, you're going to, draw the neck right away. Okay, you can draw the neck. Want to make sure it's not too wide, not too thin, and not too long. Because if you do, oh well, you probably mess up. That's why you use a pencil to erase the mistakes you make. So you're going to want to do that. After you do that, by the way, after we do the whole body structure, we'll go right into details, I swear. By the way, I'm probably going to make this a he, so, because they haven't done that in a while. And I'm thinking about giving this to my only brother. So, let's get started. So, I did the neck wrong. That's exactly why you use a pencil to erase your mistakes. But if you use a pen, there's no going back. You're going to have to start all the way over again. Okay, so I just fixed my mistake, as you can see. Okay, so now I'm going to make this guy probably wear... possibly... let me see. Hold on a sec, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, where's your phone? Oh, change your phone. That does not help.
Go look at the kitchen on another kitchen living room on the couch.
Tired of food sticking to the pan? You try to scrape it, and then you scratch it. You may as well trash it. Not anymore. Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Gotham Steel, the newest technology in non-stick cookware made with ceramic and super strong titanium. Stronger than ever before. It's like cooking on air. Everything slides right off, and It's dishwasher safe. Watch. You've never whisked eggs in a non-stick pan, right? Well, you can with my pan.
No, it's not in there.
Call it.
No, I'm using my phone to record something.
We'll call my phone.
I can't. I'm using my phone to record something.
Oh. It's not on the couch, are you sure?
Yeah.
I didn't go anywhere else.
You went in here. I found it.
Oh. Will you turn my foot back up, please?
Here's how to order. To order, call 1-800-596-8777.
Sorry, guys. I might not be able to cut that out, but yeah. Still, though. Okay, I don't want to do that. Okay. So let's go to Google. Let's search anime boy. I'm debating in a hoodie or just a shirt. Anime boy in a hoodie. Ooh, how about a suit? That would be cute. Okay, so images. A boy in a suit. My boy in, and then also search anime boy. I think I'll do shirt and just a jacket. Hold on, I'm gonna put on something that'll keep me entertained because I just need to. Chills. By the way, shout out to Chills, even though he's not subscribed to me, not yet at least, because he does awesome scary things, and as all y'all know, I love scary things, so go check him out. Let's find something entertaining for us to watch, and just in case you're not gonna do anything but watch and not listen, because I'm probably gonna do this just for like helping people draw like I do. Just watch this while I do this. So yeah, whatever. Because my phone is super loud, and because I'm recording this on my phone, so I have to use my mom's or whatever.
What are you talking to?
I'm making a video.
Oh.
Gosh, sorry guys. I'm here to find a video to watch. Let's watch one that I haven't watched yet. Let's watch this one. Sorry, ad.
Every second in the U.S. You might have been on the receiving end of one today.
Yeah, there does.
Chills. Number 10, Ghost Jail. A YouTuber named Junked Up Kitten and his friends are exploring an old county jail. They take a video camera with them so that they can make a parody of the Ghost Hunters television series. Little did the small group know that on this night they would accidentally capture actual evidence of real ghosts. Junked Up Kitten wanders around
You know
the
what?
property
Actually,
with the camera close to
you
his
can
face
just
while
follow
narrating.
this, and you can listen to this at the same time or watch this. Listen to this too or whatever, because I'm not gonna talk anymore because I'm entertained. Well, I told you how to do the first part anyway, so.
Parody show has turned out to be the real thing. From the other side of the glass, the colorless reflection of a man's face stares at him. You can clearly see the outline of the ghost's brow, nose, and empty eyes. His head is cocked to the right, almost as if he is sizing up a newcomer. His mouth appears to be a thin, expressionless line. If anything, the ghost has incredible timing. Right when Junked Up Kitten says that he is looking for evidence of ghosts, one just happens to show up in the window. It's almost as if the ghost was trying to make its presence known. Perhaps it was even trying to get a hold of someone who could free it from its miserable cell. Number 9, Restaurant Spooks. Most people think of houses, hospitals, or jails when they think about ghost sightings, but some of the most unsuspecting of places can turn out to be the most haunted. This footage was taken in a popular food joint during broad daylight. A shadowy ghost suddenly materializes in a Subway restaurant. It starts out in the shape of a human and almost appears to be getting a table. When it gets back to its seat, the black shadow suddenly changes into a floating black blob of an orb. At this point, an employee or maybe a customer appears to see the ghost in the doorway. Whoever they are, they look stunned for a second and then quickly back away. The shadow orb pays no attention to the human as it floats up to the window and lingers there. It's almost as if it's taking a look at the outside world. The ghost starts to rise even higher and shrinks until it fully disappears back to wherever it came from. Number 8, the Ghost Stadium. Ghosts don't have to wait until nighttime before they can begin to haunt. As this Brazilian soccer footage shows, the crowd is happily cheering on their favorite team when suddenly a shadow ghost starts sprinting through all of them. Look closely and you'll notice how nobody tries to move out of the way. Even though a person is clearly running full speed at them, not a single person tries to pull their legs in or even bothers to look up. They are so concentrated on the game that they do not see, feel, or hear the ghost as it runs directly through the half-filled stadium in a straight line. Number 7, Fridge Ghost. A YouTuber named No Ghost Hunter grows tired of living in a haunted home and decides to videotape the disturbances for evidence. It's a little past midnight when he hears scratching noises, which soon progresses into running footsteps and loud bangs. These noises appear to be coming from all different...
Guys, wait, I just realized that I have I just remembered I had this. So this is a Daler Brownie. Oh well. Let me show you what it's like. It's basically for shading and sketching and whatnot. These are pretty long. Okay, so now let's get back to here. Don't want your finger.
It's a little past midnight when he hears scratching noises, which soon progresses into running footsteps and loud bangs. These noises appear to be coming from all different areas of the home at once. The next day, his HD TV literally begins rocking violently from side to side all by itself. The rocking motion picks up speed until the corners of the TV are almost hitting the entertainment center, and it looks like the base is going to break. Then the TV starts rocking back and forth the other way. There is nobody behind the television, and there's no way they could have been using strings to do this. The day after, No Ghost Hunter finds a short video on his phone that he is 100% sure he did not make. The video is shot from the ground level of his kitchen. When you look at the reflection in the oven, you can see that nobody is holding the phone. The phone is literally floating in midair. Additional footage shows the TV shaking by itself again. This time, No Ghost Hunter is able to film behind the television to show that this is not a prank at all. He waves his hand above the television to show that there's no wires, and he even films underneath the base to show that there is no rod coming out from the entertainment center or anything like that. The lights cut out multiple times while he films. A few days later, he captures his refrigerator door slamming open and closed again and again. The brazen poltergeist leaves the door open to make sure its presence is fully known. Number 6, Watch from Above. A group of British friends are playing catch in a courtyard when one of them sees something strange and points it out to the others. The camera follows his gaze and stops on a pale face looking at them from high above. The sickly person looks at them for a second longer before silently slipping out of view. The group is now creeped out and wants to know who has been spying on them this whole time. They tell the property manager about the face they saw in the window, but she says that it's impossible. The room they are talking about has been locked and unoccupied for quite some time. The manager goes up with them to unlock the door and show them around. They try and find the person, but the place is completely empty. There's no way anyone could have been up there, yet the camera obviously says differently. The mysterious peeper has never been identified. Number 5, Old Pete's Ghost. This pub in Sydney, Australia, called the Carlisle Castle Hotel. For years, this local watering hole has been haunted by the ghost of Old Pete, a bitter ex-employee who left the earth quite some time ago, but not his job. His ghostly antics have been caught on camera no less than 3 times. The first time Pete was caught on tape, He was helping a customer.
So this is the outline
Man
of the
opens the
reading.
door to the cooler when Pete decides to grab 2 bottles of red wine for himself. His ghost grip must have not been too tight though, because both bottles go crashing to the floor. Looking at the footage, there's no way that the shelf gave out or anything like that. The bottles were thrown to the ground with deliberate force with no one nearby. Another incident occurred when the bar was full of witnesses. Everyone is happily enjoying themselves when a hanging red wine glass suddenly dislodges itself and smashes into the counter. Glass shards fly everywhere and the entire bar takes notice. Although this could have simply been a freak accident, what are the chances that, of all the red wine glasses, the one that's directly underneath the server happens to be the one to fall and break? The timing is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. Old Pete strikes again. The third is empty this time when the angry ghost suddenly materializes in front of the security camera. If you look closely, you can make out old Pete's head at the bottom of the screen. He appears to be waving. Many other bartenders and customers all claim to have seen old Pete for themselves in one way or another. It isn't uncommon for tapes to turn on by themselves, and the bartenders have seen what they can only describe as strange things while counting down their registers after close. To make this all even stranger, all of the bottles that go crashing to the floor are always high-end red wines. This just so happened to be old Pete's favorite drink, at least when he was still with the living. Number 4, the church disturbance. Steve and Jake are wandering around the woods one summer night with a single goal in mind. They want to explore an abandoned local chapel that's rumored to be haunted. As they approach, they see that someone has written prayers or warnings all over the outside wall. The 2 friends instantly get a bad feeling about this adventure, but they swallow their fear and decide to press on. The rickety main door is locked, so they sneak around back. Already, they don't want to be here much longer. They had explored an old clock tower earlier in the day and were greatly disappointed by a lack of paranormal activity. But they could tell this church is way different. The place looked and felt quite haunted. They go up some wooden steps and enter through the back door. They shine their flashlights deep into the church's main assembly. There's rows and rows of wooden pews ahead of them. They pass by a podium and notice a piano. Then they head deeper inside. Now they find themselves inside of a small maintenance closet. They close the door behind them because they don't want anyone sneaking up on them. It feels like anyone could be watching them right now. They see a ladder to the left. Steve is about to climb it until Jake jokes that a body is going to fall down on him if he does, so he decides not to. That's when the piano starts to play from outside.
Oh man. Oh my god. Turn the light. Listen. Is that piano? Should we go check it? Is that door open?
It's a soft and haunting piano melody that fills the church. Steve and Jake shut off their flashlights and keep recording. They debate whether or not they should go outside or stay here, where it's semi-safe. They realize that they can't spend the entire night trapped in the broom closet of a haunted church, so they turn their flashlights back on to see who is playing. Sitting at the piano at the far end of the room is a black, hunched-over phantom. They scream and shut the door. Jake cries for it, so they turn their flashlights back on to see who is playing. Sitting at the piano at the far end of the room is a black, hunched-over phantom. They scream and shut the door. Jake cries for a bit, then they run away through the back exit. The music stops as soon as they leave the church. They were hoping that the music stopped because it was over, but in reality, it was because the ghost had gotten up from the piano to chase them. They run a good distance before pausing to look back into the dark scenery. It seems like they've gotten away, but then the ghost finds them and they run away screaming. The camera cuts off as they run a good distance before pausing to look back into the dark scenery. It seems like they've gotten away, but then the ghost finds them and they run away screaming. The camera cuts off as they fall back deeper into the woods. At least one of them survived and uploaded this video onto YouTube, where it's remained for the past 10 years. Number 3, the teleporter. 2 girls are alone in their house when one of them sees something in the doorway. Pause the video and you can see it's clearly the upper half of a young girl who is dressed in old-fashioned clothes from another time period. She is floating in midair as she curiously peeks in on the 2 children to see what they are doing. One of the girls still doesn't see the ghost. She shouts at something that's on television and accidentally startles the ghost away. The girl with the camera follows the ghost as it retreats. The ghost instantly teleports and now stares at them from the top of the steps. The scared girls run out of the house screaming. They stop only for a second to turn around from the street. They can see the ghost girl walking across the left window on the top floor. It vanishes and then suddenly appears on the bottom floor in less than a second. They scream even louder and take off again. Number 2, stay out of the attic. Back in 2008, a man started to notice some strange activities around his house. He would often come home from work to find his dogs cowering under the bed, too afraid to come out. One of his dogs would only come out from under the bed for a brief 10 seconds at most before going straight back into hiding. Something was intimidating these large dogs badly. The owner starts to hear banging noises coming from all over.
Then at the end, I will turn this over so you can
Eventually traces
see it
the noise to his attic
truly.
and goes upstairs with a camera for a closer look. Everything is completely trashed. Boxes are overturned and clothing is scattered everywhere. Something has violently flung all of his personal possessions all around. As soon as he goes back downstairs, he hears another huge bang and runs right back up the steps. He puts the camera down and searches the empty attic for clues. A nearby metal bucket falls over and he runs out of the room before he gets hurt. Another object hits the ground on its own and the camera moves to the right on its own too. The homeowner was too scared to look at the footage. He waited a week before going back upstairs to get his camera. By now, he is understandably quite paranoid. He begins recording everything he does in his home, and it isn't long before he has more paranormal evidence. One day, his radio turns to static and a spirit orb rushes out the window. Later, someone violently jiggles the doorknob to the door that leads to the attic. The door opens and shuts by itself. The radio goes back to normal soon after. Things look to be going back to normal for a second, but then a paper towel roll suddenly flies up from the table to the couch, and the radio starts making more sounds again. The video recording starts to get fuzzy too, as if a ghost is causing electrical disturbances by passing by. Both of his dogs begin to look in the same spot as if they are following something. Whatever it was, the man was never able to physically catch it on film. He was only able to record its strange and oftentimes violent behaviors. Before we get to number 1, if you've ever been curious as to what I look like in real life, then follow me on Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT with underscores instead of spaces. I also have a Twitter at YT_chills where I post video updates. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because I upload a new scary video every Thursday. Number 1, Ghoul School. This footage comes from somewhere in the Middle East. A group of teenagers are curiously exploring an old school. They go up a flight of steps and pause when they hear a dog whining on the other side of the door. They all run down the steps and gather at the bottom. They're afraid of being attacked by a group of stray dogs now, but they decide to press on and explore the lower areas. The group finds bravery in their numbers and begins to joke and laugh again as they make their way down a long hallway. They open a door and find graffiti on the wall. Other people had been here before them. Maybe this place isn't so bad after all. The teens grow a little more nervous as they continue to poke around. They are laughing less and starting to go silent. Something just isn't right about this section of the building. A YouTuber named Zabin Jaguar translated their comments. He says at this point one of the teens say that their phone shut itself off even though it was fully charged only a moment ago. Another person was able to keep recording, though they probably now wish they hadn't. They enter one classroom in particular and get a dreadful feeling. Suddenly, a figure actually appears out of thin air and walks towards them. The ghost is missing his head, but there's somehow no blood. A loud chanting begins as soon as the ghost walks towards them, but this may be prayers from a nearby mosque. Amazingly, the group all appears to have missed the ghost, which explains why they calmly continue to keep exploring. They wouldn't see the apparition until much later. But when they did, they would never forget what was heading straight towards them in that room. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because I upload a new scary video every Thursday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!
Seriously.
We're straight up Halloween fraud! Again!
But in the Halloween's past, everyone must be scared of our costumes.
We live in relative safety from day to day, but as these videos show, traumatic events can happen at any day, any time. None of us are truly ever completely safe, and these videos could have easily happened to anyone, even you.
but it means we're not wearing costumes at all this
Number 19, self-defense. When James hears screaming and glass shattering in the hallway outside of his apartment, he knows that there is going to be some serious trouble ahead. He snaps into survival mode and grabs his gun and also sets up a camera to record his door. He opens the door and peeks outside, ready to kill if necessary.
I feel the conflicting feelings regarding the Halloween tradition.
James has been spotted and now has moments to react. You'll never believe the struggle that happens next. Imagine minding your own business in your apartment and suddenly having to deal with this encounter.
tonight is that we are scary.
I do wish to see the boo-boo-boo.
I gotta get up. Calm down. Calm down.
That was Twain Thomas kicking through a door and then hacking down the rest of it with a machete. 3 shots put him down before he can slice the couple in their own apartment. Make no mistake about it. This man was intent on going on a killing spree. After the action happens, the two have this short exchange.
What? You were gonna kill me? Well, then I did the right thing.
But neither man was killed that day. Twain survived and was sentenced to 5 years in prison with 10 years parole upon release. He was blacked out at the time and says he had no idea what he was doing until after he had been shot. Number 18, ghost bully. A lot of children have had the misfortune of being singled out and picked on by their own personal bully. But there's one child in Spanish Town, Jamaica, who has had the worst luck of all. He says that they are being bullied by an evil spirit, and his parents and local town all believe him. Plus, there's video evidence for proof. His face has been blurred out to protect his dark secret. One video shows him sitting in a chair with his family. After being asked a few questions, the ghost decides to take control of the situation. Although he could have been pushing off the ground with his feet, you can't see the floor in this video, so it's hard to tell. One thing is for sure though, look closely and you can see the boy's hand, right arm, fly straight up in the air. It's definitely as if he's being grabbed by the wrist and jerked straight back. If he is faking it, then he is a very good actor. Okay, take a look at the second video and tell me what you think. He is just standing against a wall in his neighborhood when all of a sudden... You can clearly see his whole body in this video as the left leg suddenly shoots up, almost as if someone is pulling him by the foot. Again, if this is fake, then he is a great actor with even better balance. It looks like he really is about to fall flat on his face until his mother rushes in to save him. If a ghost really happens to be crossing over into the material realm and grabbing a hold of his shoe here, no one knows exactly why.
'Cause I'm making you
Still,
something.
the local bishop has no doubt that this relentless ghost bully is real. Number 17, the webcam ghost. 2 sisters are playing in their room when they decide to record themselves singing a Disney musical for fun. Midway through their amateur performance, it becomes apparent that the 2 girls are not so alone after all.
Time to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instinct. Close my eyes and leave.
The younger sister simply stares at the pitch black doorway in shock, while the other continues singing. Then whatever is with them decides to do this. The video ends with the girls running away, screaming for their father to come help. Looking at the video a second time, it does seem as though the door definitely opens on its own. If this is real, then something must have taken a few steps into their room before swinging the water bottle off of their desk.
This is from my big brother, by the way.
Drawer. Perhaps a grumpy ghost had gotten tired of their singing, or maybe this was all just a prank. If so, it's a pretty good one. Number 16, The Prowler. This video seems to be split evenly between believers and skeptics. A kid is making a video for his school project when the camera apparently catches something glaring at him through the window. It's quick, so pay close attention if you missed it.
The bio we chose was the taiga border forest, which is located in Russia, northern Canada, and
When the dog jumps up to get a tennis ball, it pushes the blinds away and you can just barely make out half of an ape-like face looking into the window. If you still can't see it, then other YouTubers have slowed the video down and taken a screenshot. As you can see, something is clearly looking in on them. If this was just a reflection, then it should look like the back of a student's head, but it is clearly someone's face. It looks like it could be some sort of humanoid. Another possible explanation would be some sort of fake dummy or statue they placed outside of the window. Other people point out that the dog does not look frightened by the face at all, but then again, the dog might have been too focused on getting the ball to notice anything else. Also, if this video was fake, then the dog would have to be taught to jump up on the back of the couch just at the right time, which would be kind of hard to do. Plus, you don't hear or see any commandments given towards the dog. Overall, this video has a very natural feel. Number 15, The Ghost Experiment. A YouTuber named Michael D. McGee has been conducting paranormal experiments for years. Apparently, Michael summons a spirit who is willing to move things on his command. To prove this, Michael takes a metal fruit bowl full of apples and shows it to the camera. He says that whenever he concentrates and asks the ghost to move it for him, it does. After showing that there is no one else in the room and no strings on the floor or attached to the bowl, he places the fruit bowl down, making sure to keep himself in the frame the whole time. This supposedly is what he is able to get a ghost to do.
It's like...
Again, I just wanted to stress that Michael insists that this is not telepathy, but rather an actual spirit who he is able to communicate with and give commands to. He has since been able to replicate this experiment with other objects. What separates this video from others is that there are clearly no strings attached. If this is fake, it's unclear as to how he is making these objects move. Number 14, Devoured by Bugs. Imagine letting a giant green insect sit on your finger and eat your flesh raw. That's exactly what a YouTuber named Glenn Larson did in a video with a simple description that reads, Redneck Wart Removal. Apparently, these long-legged grasshoppers, known as katydids, have...
Alright, so now I'm done. Oh well. This is my big bra. Probably going to go some employees, but still need to color it.
No problem being handled as long as they have a chance to eat your skin. In this instance, you can see the katydid work its mandibles deep into Glenn's flesh as it steadily chews off a thick, meaty wart. It probably would have eaten all the way to the wart's core if Glenn had let it go on long enough. Fortunately, he puts the thing down before it has a chance to draw blood. Number 13, The Winged Attacker. A group of musician friends are jamming out in the woods in Oregon when a tiny creature suddenly attacks one of them in broad daylight.
It's a bat!
The bat hits Derek on his shoulder with a dull thud and all of the instruments stop. Everyone watches in disbelief as the tiny creature climbs up his body, and Derek can even feel its cold snout as it plants its tiny sharp teeth into his neck, just inches away from the jugular vein.
And then it just bit me.
It latched onto his shoulder, then crawled up his neck.
He throws the bat off and watches it fly into a tree, where it continues silently watching them from afar. They are freaked out at this point, but they think that it was just a freak occurrence and decide to play some more music. After the bat makes 2 more swipes at the man, however, his friend has had enough and shoots it with a BB gun. The group takes the bat corpse back to the local health department and has it tested. Sure enough, Derek had been bitten by a rabid bat. He had to get rabies shots for days afterwards. Number 12. The Spooky Seat. This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him, at least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him. Obviously scared now, he waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. Number 11. The Pub Ghost. A woman is cleaning an English pub after hours one night as a ghost makes a mess of everything behind her. She is mopping the floor when suddenly a sign starts to dance back and forth before returning back to normal. She returns and the sign stops moving, but as soon as she's gone again, this happens. When the cleaning lady returns, she notices that the sign has fallen. She appears to be giving her coworker a hard time.
Hello?
Parental supervision recommends each sold separately.
What?
It was yet another case of the kids in the treehouse.
Olivia, why?
Dad wanting to be.
Scenario.
Only a victory against Cosmo would grant him entry.
Nothing, I'm just sitting here drawing.
A tough challenge, thanks to Dad's 100% failure.
Home. Sleeping.
Rating maintained.
What time to be alive?
What?
Cosmo. Smart device required. Ask your parents before downloading the free app.
It's not an iguana, it's you.
Yeah.
Pajamas. Watching Total Drama-Rama.
Okay, bye.
Watching Total Drama-Rama.
You can't see what they're saying, but you can tell she thinks that he knocked it over and is now telling him to cut it out. He insists that he didn't do anything and steps over for a closer look. As he is peeking around the corner, the mop falls over. He is terrified now and quickly runs away, presumably out of the building and into the night. Number 10. Dinner time. With 2 Barbie dolls in her hands, this little girl is as happy as can be. Her family is recording what should be a loving memory for them to watch over and over again with glee. Instead, if any of them ever watch this video again, it will be in sheer horror. The girl is in the middle of an improvised skit when her father calls something out to her.